On this edition of Around BCC, with the talk of expanded casino gaming in Massachusetts comes opportunities for BCC students. BCC extends its dropout support program to Fall River, and our monthly alum takes his love of politics to the classroom. Welcome to Around BCC. I'm Keith Tebow. Thank you for joining us this month. As we tape this program, the Massachusetts State Legislature is currently in the final stages of creating a bill which would greatly expand casino gaming in the Commonwealth. Governor Patrick is also expected to sign the bill. And what's important about the bill is that one of the casinos planned will be located in southeastern Massachusetts. How does that tie into BCC? Well, Bristol Community College has a casino gaming program for students to learn the industry. We're going to talk about that program today with my guest. I'm joined by Cecil Leonard. He is the chair of the Business Administration Department, also a professor of Business Administration, and also Paul Robillard, who is involved in many of the courses in the casino gaming program and is an adjunct professor here. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Good morning.
Welcome. Good morning.
Cecil, let me start with you. How did the program start, and what was the reason for it starting?
About 3 years ago, as you may recall, there was a good deal of conversation about one of the Native American tribes establishing a casino destination in southeast Mass. And at that point, we looked at the situation. We're constantly working with our business colleagues through advisory boards to come up with anticipating future job requirements. And we thought that casino gambling had a good probability of coming into being, and started the program, started all the paperwork to get the curriculum approved. And again, that was about 3 years ago. So we were just anticipating the economic needs of the region.
Okay, now the program has been in effect for about 3 years, or that's when it started? When did the program actually start?
The paperwork and the process, which is not too terribly bad, started about 3 years ago. The program has actually existed in the catalog for 2 years.
Okay.
So, and as you can imagine, without the actual legislation being approved, there hasn't been a whole lot of activity. There's been some, but everybody's been waiting for the legislation to be approved.
Let me just ask you, though, since all the bill that's been filed and now working its way through the legislature, has there been some interest, maybe a little more, knowing that this may come to fruition?
Indeed, there has been. I don't think it's ever going to be, say, for example, on a par with our general management option or our accounting option.
Right.
But I think it will serve an important role in the community. We're always on the go to serve the community, workforce development efforts, and it certainly goes in, because as you'll learn when Paul goes through some of the material, it's not as simple as just dealing the cards.
No, absolutely. There's a lot
more to it.
Yeah. And Paul, let's talk a little bit about the program itself. You're heavily involved in teaching many of the courses here. There are a lot of basic core business courses that students need to learn about, which is no different than any of the other business programs here at the college. We'll talk about those a little bit later. But specifically the concentration courses for the casino gaming services program. Talk a little bit about some of the courses, and we'll maybe get into some details of some of them, but what was the thought process in terms of creating the courses? What was, I guess, the desired outcome that students will learn if they take this program?
First perhaps the income, that casinos are no different than managing any other enterprise, any other business.
Right.
Now, as any industry has, they have their own lingo and their own buzzwords and abbreviations and so on. And so part of the training is to get students acclimated to the lingo of the casino. Since there aren't any in the area, there's not a whole lot of people here that have been trained in working in a casino. So we've developed 3 courses that are part of the requirements for the program. An introduction to casino management, another one looking at loss prevention, the working of government and agencies together to ensure protect the assets of the casino, and also the social responsibility. There's a lot of concern with casinos that they encourage gambling, and that it becomes addictive gambling and so on. And one part of the legislation is going to aim at, there's going to be money set aside for education and training for people, make people aware of casinos. There is that possibility of addiction.
Now, you talk about the core courses, introduction to casino operations. What is entailed in there? Just basically how a casino operates? What are some of the things that students can learn?
Looking at all aspects of the casino. Okay. So it's not just the gaming floor, but it's also there's accounting that's done, and protecting the assets, and it's a management course, and looking at all the things that managers do. Obviously, like any business, they have to plan and they have to organize and get people to do things and manage. And casinos are open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365, and it's a big job managing those kinds of operations.
Now, the other core course, as you mentioned, is casino loss prevention. This obviously would probably take into more the finances of a casino and how, based on the description of the course, talking about how casinos and government agencies work together in terms of maybe, I would think specifically with this bill maybe going forward to be part of that, but also how casinos and governments work together to ensure that, I guess, everybody gets a fair piece of the pie. Is that a good description?
And casinos are probably, after banks, the most regulated industry in the company, in the country.
Right.
And government certainly has an interest in making sure that the money is accounted for. There's surveillance. Everybody knows about the eye in the sky that's watching everything going on. Lots of jobs are going to be available there, but there is a sense of protecting the assets of the organization, and also the employees and the customers.
Also, I would think talk about taxing and the like, tax strategies.
Yeah, that's all going to be that's all included in that cost. Taxing, and again, casinos are very heavily taxed. And all of the efforts that go into operating the casino and protecting the assets are going to be covered in that cost.
Now, you talked briefly about the gaming and social policy course. As you know, and you mentioned that a lot of opponents of the casino look at the social impact that potentially could happen with people who may not have the resources that go to the casino. How delicate is that course in terms of trying to, I guess, paint both sides of the picture?
Right, and that's my responsibility,
right,
to make sure that I present fairly what is the advantages and disadvantages, what people should be cautious about. But on the other hand, people can go, and there's entertainment, and lots of people go to a casino for entertainment. But there you have to use some caution, and try and make sure you can only gamble to the extent of your capabilities, fits in with your budget, and so on. And it is a delicate balance, but that's what we're about here at colleges too, is presenting both sides of an issue and letting students draw their opinions from there.
Something that I also is interesting about the concentration courses for the program is there are also 3 courses that have to do with convention sales, hospitality, hotel management. A casino, if it does come in southeastern Massachusetts, it would be considered a resort casino, which would include restaurants, hotels. Yeah. How is that tied into this program?
That's with the other courses, as you
right,
mentioned in the program. Yes, there's going to be a hotel, and there's going to be restaurants, and those have to be managed and operated like any hotels and restaurants. There's a marketing course in the program, management courses, communication, English courses. It's a full program so that BCC sends out a well-rounded individual into the workforce.
When the programs were developed, the courses were developed for the program, where did you get the information from? Other colleges? Are there other colleges even in Massachusetts that do this?
Yes, UMass Amherst has several courses. Johnson & Wales has some courses. I've guest lectured and taught courses at Johnson & Wales. There's casinos like in 34 states now.
Right.
University of Nevada at Las Vegas has a whole institute, training institute. I got a lot of information from them and still do. There's lots of information out there that helped us develop the program.
As both of you mentioned, there hasn't been, at this point, a huge outcry for students to come into the program, and I would think that's going to change if a bill is finalized and the governor signs off, and there will be plans for a resort casino in southeastern Massachusetts. But of the students that have come in, and Paul, I guess I'll focus this again on you because you've seen these students, what have been their interests? Have any of the students really not known what they wanted to do in casino gaming, and then maybe became a little clearer with the students who have been through the program?
Yeah, it's an exciting thing. It's something new. It's viewed as an entry point into a new industry that's starting in the area. There's going to be lots of opportunities for promotion and expansion. This won't be the end of it. Students are looking at where can I get in on the ground floor, get some education here, get some training, move up in the organization. And there's going to be lots of opportunities in casinos. Casinos need all kinds of people. And oftentimes people think of, well, jobs don't pay well. Yes, beds need to be made and floors need to be swept and so on. But we also need a great lot of managers and a lot of technical people. Casinos are loaded with technology. Slot machines are just big computers.
Exactly.
And they cost between $15,000 and $20,000. So we need technicians to install them, configure them, maintain them, repair them. There's lots of those kinds of jobs in casinos.
In the intro to casino operations, is there any talk about the games themselves and how they work and how, I mean...
I do spend one class session in showing some of the finer points of dealing. Yes, we do play...
not from the bottom, I hope.
No, not from the bottom. I don't know how to do that. And the emphasis is on security and how the casino trains dealers to secure and run a fair game, and the organization of the tables and pits, and who's the pit boss and what do they do, and your responsibilities as a dealer and so on. So we do spend one class on doing some fun stuff like that.
And also, I think management of chips. I mean, you have to be aware of if you're a dealer and you're distributing chips, people are giving you money and you have to distribute chips. There's got to be very careful.
There is procedures, what you can do with this hand, what you can do with that hand. This has all been developed over years and years and years in casinos, and that all gets taught to you. Everything is systemized as a procedure, a policy to follow.
Now, either one of you gentlemen can answer this next question. The courses here at BCC, from what I understand, will generally prepare students to get those entry-level positions in a potential casino operation. Are there opportunities for students to transfer? And Cecil, maybe I'll ask that to you as the chair of the department. To transfer to, say, UMass or another college?
Yes.
And how would that work?
Well, let me just take a quick moment to explain the structure of the department.
Okay, great.
We have 3 separate program categories. We have certificate programs, which are primarily designed to be completed in a year. That's for somebody that, for example, somebody in culinary arts may be interested in opening their own restaurant. So they'll concentrate on an associate's degree in culinary arts, and then they'll come and take a small business certificate to give them a little bit of idea of how to run a business. Then we have business career, where we have 12 different options, one of which is the gaming. It ranges from accounting to retail management. Then the third leg of our stool is transfer, where it's designed to meet as many of the requirements of the 4-year institutions in the regions as possible. Those students come in knowing pretty well that they definitely are going to transfer at the end of 2 years. The casino option is in business career. Those career programs are not as well tailored to transfer as a transfer program.
Okay.
But they are able to transfer. Roughly 35% of our career students transfer to a 4-year institution immediately upon graduation. Within 5 years, that number goes up to 50%.
Right.
So indeed, they can transfer.
So there are some elements that will transfer, but it's best probably to work with you and the advisement team here to see how that would work.
Yep, and all of our programs have 24 credits of general education.
Right.
Then they have certain basic business. Everybody takes accounting, principles of accounting, everybody takes principles of management, everybody takes principles of marketing. And so there's a lot of commonality, and it's possible to switch back and forth. The business transfer has a little bit more general education aspects to it than the business career. Business career we specify. For example, in general management, we have an advanced management course, which business transfer don't do that.
Right.
They'll do that at the four-year institution they go to. So we have a very good success rate overall in our program of people moving on to a baccalaureate degree.
Right. I guess final question is, if anyone who's watching has maybe an interest in this program, should they get in touch with maybe your office, because as the department chair, or obviously the main number 508-678-2811, and they can contact you at
And extension 2415.
2415. You can find out more information about not only the casino gaming program, but all the business administration options here at Bristol Community College.
Yeah.
Cecil Leonard, Paul Roblat, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. All the best. Good luck.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah.
We'll take a break and we'll be right back right after this. Welcome back to Around BCC. We have a follow-up now on our lead story from last month on the creation of a support program to get high school dropouts to return to school in New Bedford. A similar program has now been initiated to get dropouts to return to the classroom in Fall River. As part of a Gateway to College grant from the state, dropouts in Fall River will be allowed to return to school to take courses that will go toward the earning of their high school diploma, while also earning college credit at BCC. President Dr. John Sprague says the initiative will benefit the overall educational profile of the region.
The levels of educational attainment and the levels of literacy are not very high. In fact, they're low. And we want to take that very personally as we move forward. It's our job is to create educational opportunities and for the citizens of the region. And especially today we're talking about Fall River itself. We've got to do something to enhance those levels of literacy and educational attainment.
The Fall River Public Schools will be identifying students for the program, with the first cohort likely starting after the first of the year. On this month's Alumni in Your Community segment, we talked to a man whose parents emigrated to the United States. He became interested in American history and now teaches it at a local middle school.
Hi, I'm Americo Miranda from BCC class 1998. Growing up in Fall River was very interesting because my parents immigrated to the United States in 1966. I was born in 1967. At home, we spoke Portuguese. And yet, when we went to school, obviously we spoke English, but we were also associated with friends who had a similar background as we did. Therefore, we all spoke Portuguese to each other. It was very interesting. The culture we grew up with, we pretty much kept the same friends from elementary school right through middle school and so on. And it was a very interesting environment. It was, our neighborhood meant everything to us. Everyone knew who they were. We grew up in a very Portuguese neighborhood in the south end of Fall River, where we had our Portuguese church that we attended. We had the corner bakery, we had our barber, we had our corner grocery store. Everything we needed was there in the neighborhood. I went to Durfee High School, and it was very, very interesting because, again, when you get to high school, the only high school in the city, now all of a sudden we get kids from 4 middle schools in Fall River, and we all meet as one at the high school. And of course, Durfee had so much to offer, from sports to music. I always liked communications, which is interesting. I didn't become a communication major, but I was always very curious about the media and politics. And from a very early age, I began to follow politics. I remember the very first presidential debate I watched, and it must have been about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was waiting for the results on my small black and white TV in my bedroom with the volume very low. And it was the election for President Carter, when President Carter became the president in the 70s. And from that moment on, I think the seed took. So throughout the 80s, with President Ronald Reagan and with Mayor Carlton Viveris as the mayor of the city of Fall River, it was very exciting and very hopeful for the future. I ended up getting married in '87 at the age of 20. 20 years old, I got married very young. And then it wasn't until later on in the 90s that I started going to Bristol Community College, and basically I studied liberal arts. At the time, I knew I wanted to do something either with teaching or with politics, but I wasn't quite sure. And Bristol Community College was the perfect fit because it gave me the opportunity to look at my priorities, to take different classes and to see what did I really want to do. And the liberal arts program gave me that flexibility to do that. I was the first generation to go to college. And again, my situation was unique because I didn't go immediately after high school. I was an older student, which was very interesting because I was able to take classes in the morning and at the same time classes in the evening to finish my program. And again, being the first generation, I think it opened up the doors for others. My sister is 10 years my junior. Again, she went to Durfee, and then she went to the University of Rhode Island, and she's done very well for herself. After I graduated from Bristol Community College in '98, I immediately went to the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, for the next 2 years. And it was there that I received my bachelor's degree in political science. And by that time, I can honestly say that the political bug had bit me. And again, it was a toss-up between education and politics. And I came to the conclusion, why can't I do both? So basically, I started shortly, right after University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, teaching here in New Bedford. And it was a wonderful opportunity. I went to Keith Junior High School at the time in New Bedford on the west side. Shortly after receiving my bachelor's degree in political science from the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, I then went through the teaching program where we had to take several courses and we had to get licensed, and I am licensed in social studies, middle school and high school. But at the same time, of course, I was interested in getting my master's degree. And at the time, I looked around for a good political science opportunity. UMass Dartmouth didn't offer that at the time, and I decided to go to the University of Rhode Island and take the drive to Kingstown, Rhode Island. Again, wasn't easy, working full-time, having a family life, yet I'm a firm believer that anything we want to accomplish, if we're motivated enough, it can be done. So I did get my master's degree in political science from the University of Rhode Island, and that was in 2006. I now teach at Normandan Middle School here in New Bedford in the North End, and I've been here for 6 years, and I'm teaching social studies. For the first 5 years, I was teaching 7th grade, and now I'm back to teaching 8th grade, like I used to when I was at Keith. And I really enjoyed the 8th grade. I moved up a flight of stairs. I'm on the 3rd floor. I call it the penthouse. I really have a great group of kids who are getting ready for high school. And this is what it's all about. It's preparing children. I still receive letters and emails and Facebook messages from kids who I had 10 years ago. And these kids, there's so much hope and so much potential in the children that we have now that they will do very well whether they go to New Bedford High School, Voc, or Bristol Aggie. The American Miranda Show started in May of 2010. And it was basically as a community service program to the Portuguese American community. It is a bilingual show, and we have our show weekly on Channel 95 in Fall River. We're also in Westport. And basically, our objective is to inform the community so they can take part of what's taking place in community events. Anything from starting new businesses in our region to inviting political candidates to politicians themselves to inform the community of what's taking place. We have lots of different guests, and from time to time we also bring in some of the youth, anyone who's involved in youth programs. Still not happy, so let's see what the future holds. Will it be someday maybe more political activity? Maybe. Will it be maybe someday getting my PhD and maybe and pursuing that goal? Maybe. But the bottom line, it will involve some type of community involvement, community activism, and definitely with the youth, because I clearly believe that the youth, they are our future.
Here are some other news and notes now from around BCC. The New Bedford campus recently held an event to commemorate its 10th anniversary, being housed in the former Star Store building in downtown New Bedford. Over the last decade, the number of students taking classes in New Bedford has more than doubled, to the point that the college is currently seeking expanded facilities in the downtown area. For the third consecutive year, the college is embracing a one-book project, which allows faculty to tie their curriculum to one particular text. This year's book is The Things They Carried, a series of stories about the Vietnam War by author Tim O'Brien. Program organizer Denise DiMarzio says more and more faculty are taking the time to use the book in their classes.
It's being used in a number of different classes again. We have probably about another 30 faculty members who've picked it up. So likely another 1,000 students are being exposed to it in the classroom across disciplines. And as we always do, we have a series of events that surround the book to kind of bring that book to life for students.
The semester-long one-book celebration culminates December 8th with an appearance at the Fall River campus of a local Cambodian dance troupe. Despite the difficult economic times, there are still opportunities for people with innovative ideas to start their own business. That was on display last month as the college's Academic Center for Entrepreneurship held its annual Entrepreneur Day Fair. Director Jeannie Girard says the key to getting started has little to do with the economy.
Whether the economy is super strong or super weak, it doesn't really matter if they're not being managed properly. They're going to fail. So, obviously in a weak economy, we have to be more careful with cash flow and we have to help them understand their financials, but they can still start a business if it's a great idea and it's managed properly. And that's what we focus on, is figuring out how to take their passion, their idea, which is just that beginning moment, and figure out a way to make it work so that they can be financially sound and it can grow the economy in the South Coast.
Classes are ongoing at the Center for Entrepreneurship. For more information, call the college at 508-678-2811, extension 2695. BCC's massage therapy program has a new home as part of the eHealth program in New Bedford. Program Director Sharon Tilton says the state-of-the-art facility in the Whaling City allows students to enter the new world of massage therapy.
Our clinic is set up to represent the workplace. It doesn't look like a typical classroom where a teacher stands behind a podium and all the chairs are lined up and there's just lecturing going on. Instead, students, when they come to campus, are involved in a much more active learning environment and really focus on building a community, a learning community, basically. So the model is very different for those students, and they really will get a better perspective on how all the different parts of the curriculum tie in together to give them the certificate that they need to be in the complementary healthcare field or as a massage therapist.
Students need 100 hours of supervised work in the field to get their degree. As a result, the clinic is now open to the public for Swedish massages for the cost of a donation to the program. For more information on appointments, call 508-678-2811, extension 3814. Congratulations go out to BCC President Dr. John Sprague for being recognized as the Southeastern Massachusetts Veteran of the Year by the Southeastern Massachusetts Veterans Housing Program. Dr. Sprague served as a C-130 pilot from 1965 to 1968 in Southeast Asia and flew a total of 1,848 missions in South Vietnam. That's all for Around BCC this month. I'm Keith Tebow. We leave you today with a look back at a performance from the Bonfire of the Humanities event held in late September. Thanks for joining us.
Well, you got me where you want me. I said, baby, where do you want me to go? You got me running. You got me hiding, love.